This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review, and what I'm looking at today is 2019's Dead Dicks, directed by Chris Bavota and Paula Springer. And this is a really good movie, and has quite a few interesting things about it. Though before you even look at the movie, you look at some of the posters revolving around the movie, and for me, they're interesting because they tell you how you approach a movie can have serious side effects as to how successful it is or is not. For instance, look at this first poster that accompanies this movie. And it's also, I should mention, the only poster I was aware of, originally at any rate. Thematically speaking, it's kind of silly, very chaotic, and creates almost the impression of a comedy, more so than a sci-fi drama, which I think Dead Dicks actually is. Title notwithstanding, that's another issue as well. Though look at this poster. It's very serious, almost sinister in tone. And I think it actually better tells you what is happening with this movie than the first one. And so that's pretty interesting. The movie itself revolves around a brother and sister. The brother being very much codependent upon his sister. And she recently learned that she was accepted into this medical school, which means that she would have to leave her brother. Now, her brother is not only codependent, as I mentioned, he's also suicidal. So he calls for her to come home at one point in the movie. And she has to work and she has to live her own life, but she makes time to care for him. Though he's busy trying to find ways to off himself. And he ends up doing so, though comes upon an unintended discovery while doing so. I don't want to give away much of what Dead Dicks is about beyond a very surface level, because it's generally a clever, interesting movie. It's currently on Tubi, by the way, so if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really good. Some people have compared it to the work of David Cronenberg, and I wouldn't do that because it's not really very Cronenberg-esque, in the sense that weirdness happens, but it's not typically sinister in Dead Dicks. It's very strange, it's unusual, but there's no real intention behind it. It just, strange things just kind of happen, which is definitely not the case in David Cronenberg movies. In which case, strange things happen, but they typically are very sinister and not good. With the events in Dead Dicks, whether it's good or not is a judgment call. It's interesting in that way. Though because of it, I don't think it's very David Cronenberg-esque. What it is similar to is 1978's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, in that you have entities who are trying to not even hurt people. And I thought that was actually a very interesting thing about that movie. The aliens in Invasion of the Body Snatchers weren't trying to hurt anyone. They didn't hate anyone. They didn't love anyone. They needed to survive, and for them to do so, they needed to take over us. We didn't necessarily die when we became one with them. It's an interesting idea. And so, with Dead Dicks, a similar type of thing is happening. There are no aliens. Well, maybe there's no aliens. It's very much unexplained as to why events are happening. Though, since you don't understand why things are happening, it definitely leaves events open to speculation. And the ending is so broad that I think in some ways it perhaps works to the movie's detriment. I would have liked it more if it at least had tried to answer some questions, because throughout the entire movie it doesn't answer anything. You don't know why things are happening. You can speculate. And that, as I said, is interesting. But it gives you no concise answers for anything. It's just very weird events happening. So while that is in and of itself not terribly satisfying, the movie the way the movie works and the depiction of the relationship between his brother and sister are really well done. It's a very interesting and engaging movie. And as I said earlier, I wouldn't consider it a comedy. It's not. It has funny moments. And the acting is so well done that you go along with a very ludicrous concept. But it's never truly ha-ha, laugh out loud funny. There are jokes, there are situations that are very odd, but it's still not a comedy. As I was saying earlier when I was talking about the poster, as well as the title, Dead Dicks is not a great one. In fact, I think it's quite bad. It's not inaccurate though. It's not inaccurate at all. But it's so jokey. It's so non-serious for a movie that, in my eyes, wants to be a little bit more than that. And perhaps it could have, if it had just aimed a little higher in terms of a title. But that being said, it's a very good movie, extremely watchable and enjoyable. It's currently on Tubi. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. As you probably know at this point, I've been dealing with recovering from a respiratory illness, and I think I'm over the worst of it, which is to say I've developed a cough, but it's very intermittent. I haven't coughed during this presentation yet, and that's a really good thing. So I'm getting better. I expect to be fully on my feet in the next day or 3. So, in any case, thank you for watching this video, and thank you for following ScreenFiles.com if you do. And if you don't, please consider that or a like. Peace.